Why do some islands feel almost impossible to get to, even though they are real inhabited and written into the everyday world? One of the strongest answers sits in the South Atlantic. Tristan da Cunha. Tristan is not a forgotten rock with a lighthouse and nothing else. It is a living community with families, jobs, a school, a church, and routines that sound ordinary until the journey begins. The island lies far from the nearest continents, with ocean doing the work of a wall. There is no airport. There is no quick weekend route. For most visitors, arrival means boarding a ship from South Africa and accepting several days at sea if the weather and schedules allow it. That is what makes Tristan feel unreal. Modern geography teaches us that almost everywhere is connected by flights, roads, and booking systems. Tristan breaks that expectation. A person can buy supplies, send messages, and follow world events from there. Yet physically reaching the island still belongs to an older rhythm. Ships swell patience and long gaps between opportunities. The reason is partly location, but also shape. Tristan is volcanic, steep, and exposed. Building and maintaining a runway would be extremely difficult, and aircraft would have little margin for error in a remote ocean setting. The harbor is not a giant gateway either. It is a practical lifeline that still depends on sea conditions. A place can be inhabited and organized, yet remain difficult simply because geography refuses to become convenient, and that is the fascination. Tristan da Cunha proves that isolation is not only about distance, it is about the kind of distance that technology has not fully flattened. People still live there because community work and memory are stronger than the obstacles. The island is reachable but never casual. It is not impossible. It just asks the ocean for permission first. And the next island makes that permission feel even stranger. Some islands are remote because they are far away. Pitcairn is remote because every practical route has to negotiate both distance and a stubborn piece of land. It sits in the southern Pacific in a small British overseas territory, far from the usual paths of travel. It has people, homes, gardens, local administration, and internet links. But it does not have the one thing that turns a remote island into an easy destination, an airport. For many journeys, reaching Pitcairn begins with flights through French Polynesia, then a flight to Mangareva in the Gambier Islands, and then a sea crossing on a vessel that can handle the final leg. Even after that arrival is not as simple as stepping off at a large dock. Pitcairn's coastline is rugged, the surrounding ocean can be unsettled, and landing depends on local conditions and small boat transfers. The last part of the trip feels less like normal transport and more like a carefully timed negotiation with the sea. The geography explains the difficulty. Pitcairn is small, high, and uneven. A normal runway needs space-level ground, safety margins, and dependable approach conditions. Pitcairn offers very little of that. Its isolation is not just a matter of being distant from other places, it is also a matter of having no easy surface where the modern travel system can simply be placed. That is why Pitcairn remains one of the rare inhabited islands where access still feels personal and conditional. Supplies, visitors, and mail arrive by sea schedules can shift weather matters. The community has survived by adapting to a rhythm that most of the world no longer has to think about. Pitcairn is reachable, but it resists shortcuts. It reminds us that an inhabited place does not need to be easy to approach in order to endure. And sometimes the hardest part of an island is not its distance, but its edges. The strangest answer is an island that built the thing other remote islands often cannot. A working airport, Saba, sits in the Caribbean as a special municipality of the Netherlands. It is inhabited, organized, and connected to nearby islands by ferry and small aircraft. But its geography is almost the opposite of what an airport normally wants. Saba is volcanic and steep. Much of the island rises sharply, leaving very little flatland. That creates a puzzle. A runway needs a place where aircraft can approach land, slow down, and take off again with enough safety margin. On Saba, the available space is so limited that its airport has become famous for being one of the most unusual public airlinks in the world. The runway is short by commercial standards, and only certain aircraft and qualified pilots use it. Flights are brief, usually connecting Saba with nearby St. Martin, but the journey carries a sense of precision. It is not a casual airport where every plane can arrive. It is a carefully managed link designed around the island's limits, not against them. That is the real-world answer to a place that might otherwise feel sealed off. Saba works because access is split between sea and air, because local systems are built for local geography, and because the goal is not to conquer the island's shape. The goal is to fit within it. This is what makes remote islands so fascinating. Tristan da Cunha waits on ships because an airport is unrealistic. Pitcairn relies on sea routes because rugged ground leaves few options. Saba found a narrow solution, but only by accepting strict limits. None of these places are imaginary, and none are completely unreachable. They simply expose the hidden bargain behind travel. Every connection depends on land, weather, water, and human patience. An island may be inhabited, modern, and connected to the world, while still reminding every arrival that geography has the final say.